Welcome to Kevin Richards VIPs. My guest today has a great story and makes a great lasagna. My guest today is Luigi Barbaro.
So I'm sitting in Nino's Italian restaurant on Blake Street here in Barrie, in Barrie's beautiful East End. I'm sitting with my amazing guest, Luigi. Luigi, I've wanted to talk to you for a while, and we're old friends, and I've known you a long time, and I've always laughed, but there was a whole period of your life that I wasn't familiar with or aware of all the things you've been through and going through. So thank you for being a guest on my show, first of all.
You're welcome.
So, thanks. So, Luigi, tell me a little bit about you growing up. Where'd you grow up?
Born in Italy.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes. Came here when I was 2 or 3. I don't really know the facts.
Yeah.
But Barrie all my life after that.
Okay. Where'd you go to school?
St. Monica's.
Oh.
And St. Joe's.
Yeah, I remember St. Joe's. Now, growing up in Barrie, what was it like for you when you first moved here from Italy? Do you remember any of that as a child and the differences?
I just remember... no, I was Italian.
Yeah.
I learned English in school. Mm-hmm. Well, a little bit before my older brother Frank.
Yeah.
And it was a funny time.
Yeah,
my parents didn't speak very well. Mm-hmm. They still don't.
Yeah.
So it was sort of my brother and myself, our job when we were out, we'd sort of translate and whatnot. And
cute.
It was a funny thing.
Yeah. So you and your brother obviously would have created a good bond growing up as well, too.
Frank
or typical brothers.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So then growing up, though, in Barrie, there was a whole inspiration at some point that, from what I remember, you were really into music.
Yes, sir.
And so where did that come from? Where did that inspiration come from? And you played the drums.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a bit about that.
Frank.
Frank was your inspiration?
Frank was my inspiration.
No, he played guitar, didn't he?
No, sir. No.
What did he play? Piano.
He played piano.
Okay.
But he brought the drums home.
Yeah.
From St. Joe's when he was in St. Joe's. So he was in grade 9 or 10 and I was still in St. Monica's. He brought the drums home for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. In those 2 weeks, I got on them and I thought, this is the best thing ever. And from there, got a drum kit. Mm-hmm. From there, we'd play, we were young, but very good. I was in a band with, at the time, it was Wayne Colson.
Yeah, Wayne, who did the stepovers with a guitar in his hand.
Very good.
Yeah.
There was Wayne, Nolan Monahan.
Yeah.
And Sean Reynolds. And we were...
what a great group of guys.
Our first band was Lost Cause.
That was the band called?
That was, yes. And boy, were we ever. And I remember when we were young, we would... Sean would be the front man, also the man to call businesses, and we played different places at 16, which was funny.
You were 16 years old on tour.
We were 16, and we were the house band at the Limelight, which was very funny, mm-hmm. because we couldn't get into the bar, but we were, so very, very funny times, good times, yeah. And from there, we became a band called White Lenny, and again, funny names, but it was pretty good. Like, we opened up for a lot of big people. Mm-hmm. We played in a lot of different places in Toronto, Lee's Palace. We did a lot of things.
Hey, Lee's Palace is no place, no small place.
We opened for bands like Glue Leg and the Watchmen. And
Watchmen are popular.
Yep.
People still like them.
So it was a good time. Mm. Did I think we would be superstars? Yes. Where we know, wrong place, wrong time. Always. So.
But that was just before an era where we had some local bands like Rev and some other bands that actually were really successful that wound up on CFNY and that.
Yeah, again, by success you mean they wound up on CFNY, but no success. That's the thing.
Yeah, that is a tough.
I grew up with bands. Well, we were all friends. Mm-hmm. There was a band called Flood, Rev, and I knew these guys.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Fantastic bands.
Yeah.
It's just, I say it again, wrong place, wrong time. Mm-hmm. Different people, I don't know how to say it. There's a lot of bands today. There was a lot of bands back then it didn't seem like any talent.
Yeah.
But, through some miracle, they're on TV and I'm watching TV.
Yeah, it's like the old, got a blister on my pinky.
Yeah.
You get it. So in high school, you had this persona too, though, where you were definitely a very good drummer. You were in some school plays like Expression and things like that.
All those things.
But those sort of things were I think people realize that your talent was at a different level than just, going up and hitting 2 or 3 drums. You played very large, drum
Sure.
sets, big kits.
That's just, I don't know. Listen, I'm better now.
Okay. So at what point then out of high school, where did you start to think, okay, that's it. I just want to play. Like you wanted to tour.
Oh, as soon as I touched the drums, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So,
If you get the bug, you get the. If here's the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people pick up an instrument. A lot of people play instruments. It's not about that.
Yeah.
And I say the difference between Eddie Van Halen, who is my favorite guitarist, and the guitarist from Metallica, which I love Metallica. Kirk Hammett, his name is.
Yeah, Kirk.
Now, I'll tell you, in just my ears tell me Kirk Hammett can play very well, but he has no ear himself. He's the sloppiest. It is horrible.
Yeah.
His solos are torturous. They're so bad.
but it's like drumming though too, because now you've got the drummer for Lenny Kravitz, the girl, who's just outstanding as a drummer. She's incredible. And then you've got people like Phil Collins who are like leading edge, change the world with their talent.
True. I'm gonna get back to the Eddie Van Halen thing.
Okay. All right.
Eddie Van Halen is so musical, and he's flawless, and it's in his soul and his fingers and everything. Like when he plays the guitar, it's like himself. You know what I mean? Some people have an ear. Some people have that talent. It's an advantage to people who practice constantly
Yeah.
and play great.
Yeah.
And people that are just,
Yeah. So now part of that sort of rock star glamour kind of touring life can often lead you into some bad temptations though too, right? And I love that you get this nervous giggle when I ask you questions that are kind of tough or intense, because you've always been like that. And so I'm going to ask it.
Sure.
So tell me a bit about where all of a sudden, the drugs and that sort of lifestyle kicked into you and how it took over.
I'm a recovering drug addict and alcoholic. So I'm 13 years clean. I'm pretty old. So 13 years is not a long time.
Yeah.
But so I would say from 16 on to 13 years ago,
Yeah.
I can guarantee you one thing. I was high. Now, whether it be in this interview and whether it be whatever, that's what I was. So was it the music? No. And was it other influences, friends and whatnot?
Yeah.
No.
So what was it?
Addictive personality, addictive traits. My father, for instance, doesn't drink, but he, I don't know how I can explain this. He got a GPS for his car,
Okay.
and the next week he bought another one. So he has 4 GPSs,
Okay.
right?
Just to be sure.
Now he has a car with a GPS built in. So
Yeah.
no need for the but that's an addictive personality.
It sure is.
So what you try something, you like it, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So that's how it was for me with drugs. It was I tried it, and then it became it was fun at parties, right? That's how it goes. And then it was fun a couple times a week and at parties. And then it was just habitual. It became more. Habitual means habit. No, it became. Here's the difference.
Yeah.
It becomes your life. It becomes your first priority, right?
Yeah.
Everything else is secondary. I see, and I hear, let's say on the news, mother of 3 kids, she's a drug addict. The kids are. Yeah, I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
Because it's not about the kids. And people say, how could you do that because you have kids? Well, you can't not do it. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're a drug addict first.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately for me, it took normally, when you quit, when something drastic happens.
Yeah.
When something bad happens, and believe me, a lot of bad things happen.
Like?
I
I love your honesty in this, so I appreciate that. So.
Running my business
Yeah.
into the ground, like 80 grand in debt because I'm a drug addict because I would come here and what was the first thing on my mind? I'll give you an example. It takes me to make a lasagna, a nice big lasagna.
Yeah.
Homemade pasta, the sauce, the meat, everything. It takes me 45 minutes.
Okay.
It used to take me 6 hours.
Wow. So.
Yeah, no. So
Yeah.
so that's the thing. Like I would come in here early to make lasagna in my previous ways. I'd come in here at 4 in the morning. I'd be done by 10 in the morning and I'd make a lasagna.
Yeah.
But what would I really do? You know what I mean?
You'd be doing drugs.
I'd be doing drugs. That's the thing.
Did you have anything that you really craved the most in the world of drugs?
I was I gotta tell you, I was always afraid to do hard drugs.
Okay.
So I would mainly stick to marijuana, hash, acid, mushrooms.
Yeah. It's a lot of hallucinogenic stuff.
Fun.
Yeah.
Okay, again, at the time, and it's never, and alcohol, obviously.
Yeah.
Because alcohol.
But nowadays, hard means different. Hard means
Okay,
fentanyl
yeah, but nowadays, we're in a different world.
Yeah, very.
We're in a world where I can't see a bright future. I'm very opinionated on this whole thing.
Yeah.
I made look, a couple friends at a party, smoking a joint, let me try it, right? That's me.
Yeah.
That's on me. Then it's me. It's always me.
Yeah.
I'm not a follower. I'm a leader.
Yeah.
And I led myself into hell, right? It's true. So,
Well, you own it, and that's a big deal.
so I can say every year I would spend, let's throw it a number, let's say $80,000 on drugs. Okay?
Wow.
Okay, yeah, wow. Who's got $80,000 for drugs? Not me. And that's what happens.
Yeah.
Right? So, plus no memory, no, like there's a lot of things,
Yeah.
nowadays. Okay, so this new legalization of marijuana,
Yeah.
horrible thing.
Okay.
Horrible thing. Kids, and if they wanted to get it, they could get it anyways. That's fine. It's
Yeah.
just like the kids here. Kids, grade 9, they're taking their parents' booze and they're drinking.
Yeah, they
I
sure
mean,
are.
it's happened when we were kids. Same
Yeah,
thing.
sure did.
So, and now what are they taking? They take their parents'
drugs.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you could say, well, whatever, but that's the way it goes. People don't want to see people want to see what they want to see, and they want to believe what they want to believe. Here's the truth. Parents go to the doctor, get drugs for antidepressant, get drugs for many things. I myself am on anti-anxiety medication, which is a wonderful thing because my anxiety was out the roof. Now I'm okay.
It levels you out.
So, but these drugs that are obtainable, they're around. There's many.
Yeah.
I mean, the kids, so many.
And they tell stories about what the drugs will do until they actually try it and then realize that they're in a hospital or dead.
Okay.
You know?
And that's that. I gotta tell you, so drugs, marijuana, again, is it a gateway drug? For me, I can say it was not a gateway drug. But it depends what your gateway is. Everybody's their individual thing. It's,
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It depends on what line you're willing to cross and what. Thank God, thank God it was back then and not today.
Yeah.
Because today I'd be dead.
And access to things is just different.
It'd be dead. The music, I gotta tell you about the music that I listened to when I was young.
Sabbath.
Love Sabbath, love Zeppelin, Kiss, rock and roll all night and party every day. Listen,
Yeah.
the message, the parents were like, but the message, listen, it's not scary.
Yeah.
Like, especially today, it's like today, the music is not that. And all the kids are listening to these.
There's a lot of anger and hate and things
Anger,
that are
hate.
illegal. Doing things illegal and making it cool.
Okay, but they name specific drugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Molly and all these, the things that I don't know. But they name all these drugs, how glamorous it is, how
Interesting.
I put a post on Facebook, and normally my posts on Facebook are I don't get many likes. I'll get messages afterward, I'll message her because nobody wants to like my posts because
But those
they're
are opinions, and those, unfortunately, for the people who like to judge or attack, can't embrace the fact or just can't put themselves in what you've gone through to understand where it's coming from. Like when we were you know, when you think about the 60s and 70s, people back then would lay on the ground listening to a Zeppelin record, stoned with two great big Marshall stacks or two big speakers blowing music, and that's what they would do. And you think back to that, that's kind of fun and funny. But nowadays, it's the music is leading people to an edge. So then, something that I really respect you for, though, and I'm glad that this happened was, in sort of a funny way, I'm glad you hit a wall at some point. Ooh. So what was that wall? Take me there.
Kevin, I'm going to tell you some things that are pretty personal. So, I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. If I would, okay, here's my honest opinion, my parents didn't know. Because they had no idea of how I was since I was 16. They had no idea. Because every time they'd see me, I'd be stoned. How would they know? It's the same.
They don't know the non-stoned.
They don't know because there wasn't a non-stoned Luigi.
Wow.
Right? And when I say there wasn't, it would be because, let's say, here's a typical day. I'd wake up at 6 a.m. and start smoking drugs. And while I'm smoking drugs, I'm making drugs to smoke drugs. So there wouldn't be, so every half hour, I'd be smoking until I went to bed or passed out because I'd be drinking and partying and then bed. 2 hours later, I'd wake up, let's say to pee.
Yeah.
But I'd smoke drugs to go back to bed, to wake up 2 hours later. So there'd be maybe 3 hours sleep in a night, and it's just, so it was almost like I was so, the more you do, the less you feel it. So did I think I was high at the time? No, and I thought I was functioning, again, like I said, 6 hours to make lasagna is ridiculous. So I wasn't functioning at optimal levels.
Yeah.
And, but I can recall some things almost like I was watching myself in a movie. That's how it was, like it wasn't like myself.
Yeah.
Like that's how deep into it, you know, that's how bad. Like, that's why I can see people, you know, they don't know enough. They don't know enough. There's too many articles about how great marijuana is, how great it is. It cures cancer. Sure it does. It cures everything.
Yeah. But let me take you back to that moment, because I don't want.
Okay, I'm
away.
scared to tell you about that moment.
But
okay,
I really believe that it's an honest.
So my family was like this, breaking apart. My wife and I were not. I mean,
you weren't working.
Well, we weren't working because we were partying together. But let me tell you something. Here's the truth. Drugs were first, right? My family was second. But guess what? For her too. So that's where, you know.
Did you have kids at the time?
I too, at the time.
Okay.
My lovely oldest son Nino and my lovely daughter Rosalia. And let me tell you, they a better part of their lives was spent playing with Toys R Us. And it sounds funny. I would leave here, go to Toys R Us, and I'd buy toys. So when I get home, I'd give them the toys, so they'd leave me alone.
So you could do drugs.
So I could do drugs, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but, you know, kids are not stupid.
No.
Kids are not stupid, and so, you know, I was present in the area, but I was never present. You know what I mean? And I could say in my heart, oh, but I love them and I did certain things. You know what? I did everything with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go to the Metro Zoo. I'll give you an example. This year I went to the Metro Zoo with my whole family.
Yeah.
And we stayed for 7 hours and walked around the park.
Yeah.
It was great.
It's a big zoo.
Okay, back then I would go for 45 minutes.
Couldn't wait to get out of there to go smoke drugs.
No, I wouldn't make it out of there. I'd make it through the line to get in, to get to the front, to say, okay, time to go. Let's go, kids. So my kids knew the front of the zoo, right? My two.
Oh.
Or they'd know the front of Wonderland, or they'd know we'd get there.
And you had to get out of there.
Yeah. And then when my son, Nino, was 5, he started drinking a lot of water. And we're like, we're so high, we don't know what's going on. All I know is this kid is drinking so much water, 16 liters in a day. So a whole water drum.
Wow. Yeah.
So to the doctor we go. And, he's diabetic, type 1. So now there's that big hit.
Wake up call.
Yeah, wake up call to do drugs.
Oh.
Okay, so that's not even the devastating part. So the wake up call to do drugs, what are we gonna do? Okay, take him to Sick Kids. we go to sick kids. And now he's so sick because this is right at the beginning when you find out your child is diabetic. If it's not from birth, and let's say at 5, then there's been a little bit of time where they're in trouble. Their body's in trouble.
Yeah.
So, you know, they do some tests on them, and they give us the results of the test, and they say, you know, your son has leukemia. Okay. So now I'm devastated.
Yeah, I imagine.
Devastated. My wife is devastated. But hold on a second while I go to the parking lot and do some drugs. Right? Now, and then I come back and they say, no, okay, we got it. It's just because his platelets were because of the diabetes. Okay, so now okay, so let me celebrate. So let me go to the parking lot.
Do some drugs.
Do some drugs. So this whole thing, which, you know, from my frankness, I'm going to tell you, I want people to understand. Doesn't matter what drug you do, right? Now I'm talking about marijuana. It doesn't matter what drug you do. An addict is an addict, right? Addiction is a horrible, horrible thing.
Yeah.
Takes over your life, makes you a slave to whatever your drug is. Could be baby aspirin, could be marijuana, could be cocaine, could be anything.
Yeah.
But that's first, everything else is secondary. Even with all that, you know, we get everything under control. 5 years after that, Nino's 10, and we are in trouble because we're partying and fighting and working and partying, and it's just a party, but in a non-party way. Just a horrible mess.
Yeah.
Right? My aunt saw me, my Aunt Pina, my lovely Aunt Pina. She saw me smoking dope out here. But I didn't know she saw me. She told my dad. And my dad is anti-drug. Like,
Yeah.
but you know what? The funny thing is, and not so funny, he did not know. He did not know me not high.
So he didn't know.
He didn't know. He knew me as a dope. Look at this kid.
Your Aunt Pina
Saw
did
me.
she intervene?
No, she told my dad. So yeah, I guess so.
Your dad intervened.
My dad, okay, coincidentally at the same time as my marriage was breaking up, my wife was having some huge problems. It came to a halt for her because I don't like to get personal on her own business, but let's just say
It got rough.
It got rough for her, and
Yeah.
in a bad way.
Okay.
And for me, in a bad way, because I certainly couldn't deal with her.
So you're kind of derailing together. It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. So you're derailing together.
Yeah, oh yes.
Okay. And so then you're looking up to see bottom, really. Like you're
I'm
down there. Okay.
I'm down there so hard.
And now your dad knows,
Now
which
my
is
dad's
something you never wanted to know.
So now he brings me downstairs into his parlor.
Yeah.
And he talks to me. But he says, I heard this and this and this, and he's crying. And I'm like, oh no.
Watching your dad cry.
Listen, it's the worst.
Yeah.
There's one person I love with all my heart.
He's your male hero.
Completely and totally.
Yeah.
And most of the funny things, I've done for him so he'd laugh, you know, everything. My father is absolutely everything to me, everything. Everything, my business is because of him. My business, that means my life is because of him, you know? So he talked to me. He said, you know, I said, yes, but I'm going to stop. And I honestly felt like I was going to stop, and I honestly never thought I could. At this exact same time, my wife said, I'm going into a program. She had been at the hospital, and they said, you should try this 12-step program.
Great.
So I said, you know what? I could as well do this, because I said, you know what? We party together. We better get clean together if we're going to stay together, because there's no way that a couple can stay together. You know, I've seen it too many times where the wife is sober and the husband is drunk, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or the other way around. It does
Sure.
not work.
Yeah.
So I said, I got to get clean right away. I'm going to try this too.
Nice.
So February 22nd is my clean date.
Coming up. No, it's a big deal. It is a big deal.
It is. I like to think of it in a different way. It is a big deal, but you know what? I did it for myself. I did the the horrible thing for myself. And I got clean, I would like to say for myself, but thank God bad things happen, because I would have been, who knows where I would have been today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got clean, programmed for a lot of years, and totally different lifestyle, totally different life. 40 minutes to make lasagna, right? Everything is different. I have 3 more kids.
Yeah.
And they have a clean parent, you know, from start to now. And it's a totally different thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm present for them. Am I still in contact? Yeah, my oldest son works here with me, and my daughter is with me at the house, and we're all tight. I have a guilt about, but
it's called a conscience.
yeah, but I can only do better and move forward. Mm-hmm. That's the way.
Your conscience will eat you up, though. It's going to be battling you forever. That's going to be the one thing that you are going to have a struggle with now.
It's true.
But so, minus the drugs in your life, things have turned.
Absolutely.
Nino's is doing well.
Very well.
So, what's it like for you then now? And you have no idea how much I appreciate, and the people who are watching this are going to appreciate your honesty on that, because it's a different level, and there's an authenticity that people don't often get to see, not even just in you, just in a lot of people, you know. And so I've watched you change just through this conversation. So now you're into Nino's, functioning decently.
Yep.
Okay. Functioning with a restaurant.
Full speed.
What's it like for you to take over this place now on a daily basis? What's it like for you? Do you feel a sense of reward?
You know what? It's hard work. That's the thing. You know, my parents always told me, you don't want this business. This is not something you want to do.
Yeah.
Restaurant life is a hard life. And I wish I didn't admire my father so much. I had nothing else that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to make him proud. Now, do we struggle? I have 5 kids. We struggle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where there were 5 restaurants in Barrie when this one opened, there are 1,400 places to get food.
There's a lot of restaurants in Barrie now. People don't realize how many there are.
Right? Mm-hmm. So if people want to eat a different thing every night, they sure can, for years. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But I have a lot of faithful customers. When it comes down to this, my father was a famous pastry chef and chef in Italy. He taught me everything that I know. I know nothing else if not for what he told me and taught me. Now, thankfully, it was great. This food is great. You know, my product is second to none.
It's outstanding.
Second to none. When we do things here, we do it the right way. We do it with love.
Yeah.
It's true. When I make a veal, it's not like believe me, we beat it to death. Right?
It's tender.
It's tender, but you know what? I want you. I'm not a kid in the kitchen who doesn't care.
Yeah.
I want you to love this food.
Well, people do. And so, unfortunately, we have to go in a minute, but give me just a Coles Notes version of your 1-minute words of advice to people in the world from Luigi.
Today?
Yeah, today's world.
Today's world. Whatever electronic device you have for your kid, that is babysitting them.
Yeah.
Because everybody does it. Everybody does it. From iPads to phones to everything.
Yeah.
As hard as it is, and as much as the kids will complain,
Take it away.
Take it away, or really put a restriction on it.
Yeah.
Because it's the devil in a box, and I hate to say it.
I understand that. Luigi, your honesty today has been so great, and I want to thank you for taking the time today. Thanks for being my guest today, buddy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.